Hey everyone! In this video, Psychology Places presents 11 effective conflict management strategies. For many people, conflict is not fun and is something most people want to avoid. But being able to handle a conflict is a good quality to have. You can experience conflicts in many places in life, whether it is at work, in your hobby, or in public. Give these strategies a try the next time you find yourself in a conflicted situation. Number 1. Don't take it personal. If you find that some people disagree with your opinions or judge your performance, don't take it personally and think it's an attack on you. It could easily be that they just have a different view or they want to help you constructively without it having anything to do with you as a person. Maybe they have a point you can benefit from. If you manage to separate what they're criticizing and you as a person, you'll have a much easier time dealing with differences between you and others. An advantage of not taking things personally is that you avoid the negative self-talk that can occur when you over-personalize a stressful situation. Some are really good at talking themselves down, and a lot of people get upset or defensive, but it rarely has anything to do with you as an individual. Try separate yourself from the conflict and it becomes easier to compromise, and in the end it's better for all parties because when you take a conflict personally, your ability to resolve the conflict is impaired. Number 2. Be aware of nonverbal communication. Many people are uncomfortable with conflicts and want to avoid them at all costs. This can cause them to say or do almost anything to avoid putting themselves in such a situation. They may say things they don't mean to ease the situation. Therefore, it's important to pay attention to their body language, facial expressions, tone of voice, etc., as you cannot necessarily believe their words. "I'm fine" is not convincing if their eyes look sad while they put a smile on their face. Nonverbal communication is driven by emotions, which means you can tell if the person means what they say. Noticing another person's nonverbal communication can help identify if they're feeling uncomfortable, and you can adjust how you interact with them to make them feel more comfortable. If you notice a mismatch between what they say and their nonverbal communication, you can inspire them to be honest with you by creating an environment where they feel comfortable, which is also to your advantage as they may open up more. Number 3. Listen actively. Active listening is a strategy designed to understand another person and to get them to express themselves clearly. By using active listening, the focus is on both facts and feelings. It helps to reduce tension and make the person less defensive, which ultimately means that the conflict can be resolved faster and more effectively. As much as you want to express yourself, others have the same need. Try to listen with the purpose of understanding what the person is saying, rather than finding their mistakes, or you try to come up with a counter reply while they're talking. You use your verbal and nonverbal language with the aim of getting the person to talk and elaborate so you can gather more information, which can happen through eye contact, nodding, and saying, "I understand" and "thank you." It could be that you realize you didn't quite understand the point the person was making. In any case, you'll gain their respect by listening to them. Number 4. Compromising. Because a conflict involves several different attitudes and viewpoints from both parties, it can often be a good idea to compromise, as this may be the only outcome to reach a fairly acceptable solution. You can use compromise to resolve a conflict so it doesn't get bigger. But compromising with another person can also be a temporary solution until a more permanent solution is found. It will be appropriate to compromise if not all parties can be satisfied, but still be able to move forward. This strategy may require a little more from a person because they also have to give up a thing or two just like you to compromise. Remember to decide with yourself whether the situation is worth spending time and energy on, as well as whether the person is willing to participate in a reasonable dialogue. Number 5. Stay aware of your voice and body language. It's very important to use your voice and body language appropriately when speaking to others. Facial expressions, posture, and eye contact are all very powerful tools in conflict management. It can help to escalate the situation or make it less tense. Used correctly, you can put people at ease and build trust. When you're in a stressful situation, try to have and maintain a calm tone. That way you can influence the way the person reacts. Control your tone by being calm and confident in your voice and avoid using negative words when speaking. Make sure you don't talk too fast, as this can make them annoyed by not understanding you. At the same time, don't speak too slowly, as people will lose interest during the conversation. Body language tells at least as much as what is said. It's therefore important that you avoid restlessness in the body, for example by crossed arms, yawning, not maintaining eye contact, etc. Number 6. Use empathy. A really good strategy for conflict management is to use empathy, which shows recognition on your part. Lack of empathy will increase the chances of the person becoming more defensive and more confrontational. By showing recognition, it does not mean that you agree with them, but that you understand them, and is a quick and effective way to move a person forward in the conflict management process. If you have the ability to use empathy, you possess a form of superpower because you can understand your counterpart and put yourself in their place. If you understand another person's feelings, you will have the understanding of why the person said or acted the way they did. It will give you the insight you need to become more effective. In this way, you can solve the problem faster and ensure that you can work together towards a solution. Number 7. Control your emotions. It's a bad idea to communicate in frustration, anger, or fear during a conflict, even though it's perfectly natural when you're emotionally affected. You will act from the fight or flight mode, which is inappropriate as we can quickly say something we don't mean and make the situation even worse. By being aware and in control of your emotions, we can gain insight and become aware of how we can respond in a constructive way, because when you think rationally and logically, you have better opportunities to formulate yourself. If you feel overwhelmed, try to focus on your breathing and count to 10. By then you should be able to have a reasonable conversation that benefits everyone. If you experience that your counterpart cannot control their emotions, such as anger, it's because it is a defense mechanism that covers up that they're hurt or afraid. The best thing you can do is listen and let them talk until they run out of gas. After that, you will experience a person who is calmer and feels safe. Number 8. Don't get defensive. A good way to handle a conflict is not to start off being defensive. You may find yourself interrupting the person before they have finished speaking to defend yourself. It's natural to go into a defensive position for many people when we feel attacked, but this can make the conflict worse to the extent that it becomes more difficult to find the problem and the solution to it. Without you knowing it, you may be defensive as it sneaks up on you. You can suddenly blame others for how you feel. In this situation, it's best to turn it around and express yourself how you feel using I statements rather than taking the victim role. When you become defensive, you avoid reflecting and seeing that you may be contributing to the problem. If you avoid taking responsibility, you can create long-term problems as your counterpart does not feel listened to and conflict will remain unresolved. This behavior may make you feel comfortable in the moment, but you will feel worse afterwards. Number 9. Don't play the blame game. Most of us want to be right, but that is not always the best strategy when it comes to conflict management. This is the reason why it's often difficult to resolve a conflict. The easiest thing to do is to play the blame game, but it's far from effective. It's more important to focus on finding a solution than being right. Create a common ground of respect instead of creating an enemy. There's no winner if you attack and blame each other, because the person you blame will leave the conversation as it creates a diversion. Try to focus on the fact that it's you and the person facing the problem and what you can do, rather than pointing fingers at each other. Before you know it, the problem is behind you. Number 10. Attack the problem rather than the person. If you can focus on the problem rather than going after the other person, your views will be perceived more clearly, and this shows that you take the initiative to resolve the conflict. Most of us know that attacking the person is not the best strategy, but that it can happen without us knowing it. It could be that we attack a person on something that they associate with their identity, or we try to fix a flaw we think they have. In this way, we attack the person on what they feel strongly attached to, which is inappropriate. The focus must be to separate the person from the problem, and by attacking the problem rather than your counterpart, it creates a healthy environment for all parties, so that you can find a solution more easily and effectively. Number 11. Apologize and forgive. An apology can be important as it helps us put a conflict behind us and improve the odds of rebuilding a relationship that has been destroyed. The goal is to restore trust in the other person. There are benefits to forgiving in the form of stress relief and joy. If you manage to be good at apologizing when it's appropriate, it can help a lot to strengthen relationships and reduce conflicts. It can be hard, but it's worth the work. If you like this video, make sure to share it with your friends and subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching.